Hey, my name is Alexandria. I'm a registered nurse and a freelance health content writer. And today in this video, I'm going to be talking about why you should start your freelance writing career with writing evergreen articles. If you like what you hear in this video, please subscribe to this channel. Okay, so why should you start with evergreen articles? So evergreen articles, I've mentioned before in other videos, these are those articles that are really kind of focused around specific medical conditions or, everyday questions that people are always putting in the search engine. For example, someone who wants to know more about heart failure. There are tons of articles through places like WebMD and a bunch of their competitors about heart failure, what it is, signs and symptoms, risk factors, causes, diagnosis, treatment, prevention, and related conditions. And then, things like how to lose 10 pounds or how to gain muscle mass. There are articles all over the place that talk about these different subjects. And really, these are called evergreen articles because people write on them, or companies write on them all the time. And really what they end up doing is kind of putting those evergreen articles on a schedule. Maybe every year or every 6 months, a platform is updating that particular article, but they never get rid of it. It's always something that's there. Why? Because every day new people are searching on these specific topics, on heart failure, on losing weight, on gaining more muscle mass. And so with these articles, it's actually an amazing place to start, in large part because it's material that you as a nurse or as a healthcare professional can absolutely talk on without having to do a ton of research. So I have some other reasons here that I think evergreen articles are a great place to start and really kind of get your feet wet with freelance writing. So one of these reasons, if you're like me and you struggle to pitch, so at the time of this video, at least as I'm recording this, pitching is just not my favorite thing. I've been fortunate that I have had clients that have been around with me long enough that I really have had the opportunity to kind of avoid pitching. And that's really not a great thing, because honestly, you want to pitch to places that will really allow you to kind of spread your wings in freelance writing and really, grow your portfolio of pieces and what type of content that you put out there. Evergreen articles are great, but at some point you'll probably want to go into feature articles or straight news articles or research papers, things that are really kind of more advanced in terms of how they're structured, how those articles are structured. So if you're like me and you kind of are nervous about pitching and, it kind of gets better over time, because it really does, pitching really does get better over time. But if you're someone who is not the biggest fan of pitching, evergreen articles are a great place to start and get yourself familiar with freelance writing. Okay, another thing to think about with evergreen articles is the structure of the article is almost always the same. So for example, going back to heart failure, most competitors who write these high-level articles about heart failure, they're going to have the same format. They're going to talk about the condition, what exactly it is, what are the causes, what are the signs and symptoms, what are the diagnoses, what are the ways in which heart failure is diagnosed, what are the treatment options, how do I prevent it, how do I live with it. Very structured format, because people are coming, when they put in the Google search engine, what is heart failure, they're not just wanting to know exactly what it is. Oftentimes they're wanting to know about the signs and symptoms. Oftentimes they're wanting to know about the causes or the risk factors or how to live with it, how to manage it, what that looks like on a day-to-day basis for people. And most platforms that are specifically creating that type of content, they will have a certain structure, which again makes it really easy to put out content in the evergreen article space. Okay, Evergreen articles, another reason why it's great to use these as a starting point as a brand new freelance writer is because it really should cater to your experience. So for me, for example, I have a background in cardiovascular care. I'm a former telemetry nurse, but then I also have a background in mental health. Why? Because a lot of tele patients, sometimes they're coming with psychiatric issues, and I had to have a psychiatrist as a consult on my clients' cases. That is not uncommon at all in most areas of med surg and telemetry. So I have a background in both. And so with Evergreen articles, most of the articles that I've ever written, you will find that they are typically in the heart health or the mental health space. And so it was really easy for me to start there, in large part because I have experience in this area. I have taken care of patients with these different conditions. I have seen the complications of these conditions. So therefore it makes it much easier for me to be able to talk about this condition and what to look for and how to manage it at home. Okay, and then another reason why Evergreen articles may be a good opportunity for you is that it's really a good opportunity to just kind of get your feet wet in freelance writing. And so what I mean by that is that freelance writing, there's really no hard and fast rule when you can go out and start writing feature stories, opinion pieces, you know, some of the heavier hitting articles that may get a little bit more foot traffic than the everyday what is heart failure article. Evergreen articles really just allow you an opportunity to get some experience with what the process may look like from the time that you submit an article, the first draft, to publication, you know, and what it may look like in terms of the length of time that it takes for you to get paid. These are all things that people oftentimes, you know, really are questioning and thinking about when they jump into a new field, a new role. And so Evergreen articles are kind of like a safe space for you to just get your feet wet and see whether or not, you know, health content writing is something that you might be interested in. That's all I have for this video. If you are intrigued by what you have heard, please subscribe to my channel.